Hey, you two, how's it going? Well, not too bad. The weather outside is frightful and cold and all that good nonsense, and this is a large part of the reason why I never go outside, or at least it's one of my big latest excuses. I just don't want to go outside. But frightfully cold weather and all that, yeah, that's a good handy excuse. And, well, there is always the good old-fashioned basic, I don't wanna. Yeah. Anywho, still awaiting the arrival of my replacement power supply that actually has the 850 watts I thought I had, so that things will work the way they're supposed to. And so in the meantime, I've been doing a lot of reading because there really hasn't been a whole lot else to do, which is fine with me because I love reading. So I've spent a lot of time on fanfiction.net, and lately I've been reading Harry Potter fan fictions. And as is the rule that I have figured out, 99% of everything you find on such a site is, well, let's just say it's less than wonderful. Some of it is outright garbage, but yeah. The point, however, is that amongst all the less than wonderfuls, there are some true gems. And one of them was kind of really thought-provoking. It was definitely a thought-provoking story. It was titled Harry Potter and the Girl Who Lived. Now, the way this starts out is it starts up with Harry Potter looking back on things. He's like 20 years old. The whole war is over. Moldywort is dead. For real. Permanently. Finally. And all the various and sundry bad guys are taken care of, eliminated, imprisoned, whatever. And he's looking back on things because it's been a very expensive fight. The reason being is that just about almost everybody he's cared about is also dead. Yeah. And then something happens, and he finds himself in another place. He's been de-aged down to 17. And strangely enough, he's at Hogwarts. And he runs into somebody. A girl outside who seems to be somewhat really upset. He gets to talking to her. And he gets her name. Rose Lily Potter. He looks at her closer. She has the lightning bolt scar. Turns out Rose Lily Potter is who Harry Potter would have been had he been born a girl. And the situation he walked into, she is at the beginning of 3rd year, and the Goblet of Fire has just spit out her name. He decides to help because he was through this whole Goblet of Fire nonsense years before in his life. He remembers it all. And so he decides to help. He also tells her about his origin, that he is Harry Potter and from some other reality and so on. He got stuffed into this reality. Somehow, he doesn't know how, and so on. And anyway, this whole thing, it spans the whole time of the Triwizard Tournament. And they get really close. They're working together. training, studying, working out plans, dealing with various and sundry bad guys, and they get really close. They fall in love. They decide that they want to spend their lives together. And that brings the question. This is the part that will bend your brain. It will definitely warp your brain to think about this. You've got Harry Potter shoved into an alternate reality and de-aged. Then you've got Rose Lily Potter, which is the same person if he had been born female. Basically, the only difference between her and him is X and Y chromosomes. Yeah. Now, the question is, when they get together and they finally do the deed, and you know it's going to happen because it's fan fiction. You know it's going to happen. They get together, they finally do the deed. What do you call that? Now, two people who are very closely related doing the deed, there's a word for that. Are they doing incest? They're two people. They're extremely closely related. Specifically, they're the same person, alternate versions of the same person. Yeah. Then again, on the other hand, you could say they are the same person. And so the two of them getting together is basically one person. And if you've got one person doing the deed, there's another word for that. So the question is, what is it when these two get together? Is it incest? Or is it masturbation? It's a weird thought, and it's a weird situation. Almost nobody will ever have to face, but it's a thought thing. It makes you think. What is it? Now, if you find yourself in an alternate reality and you run into the opposite gender version of yourself, and you get along, I would hope you'd get along. I mean, if you don't love yourself, who are you going to love? You know? And then, of course, this situation makes it a little more real. It's a more extreme example, I'll give you. So the question is, you run into an opposite gender version of yourself in another reality. What do you call that? You're welcome. Thanks for watching. Take it easy. I'm out of here.
Mr. TinFoilChef.